Patrick Mahomes tore the ACL and reportedly the LCL in his left knee late last season. So is he still a fantasy QB1, or are managers drafting the name instead of the recovery? The answer is yes, the injury matters, but mostly because his legs powered more of last year's fantasy ceiling than you think. My current verdict is a conditional QB12 with a clear draft day safety plan. Start with the exact record. Kansas City confirmed that Mahomes tore the ACL in his left knee on December 14th, with fewer than 2 minutes left in the Week 15 loss to the Chargers. He underwent surgery the next evening. The Chiefs' statement named the ACL. ESPN, citing a league source, reported that surgeon Dan Cooper also repaired a torn LCL. That distinction matters. The LCL detail is sourced reporting, not the team's public diagnosis. Why should fantasy managers care about mobility? In 14 games, Mahomes threw for 3,587 yards and 22 touchdowns. But he also rushed for 422 yards and 5 scores. In standard 4-point passing touchdown scoring, the rushing production created 72.2 points, 25.4% of his 284.7 total. He averaged 20.33 points per game, fourth in my completed season pool of 32 quarterbacks with at least 250 attempts. The strongest update is participation, not a workout montage. On July 24, Andy Reid said Mahomes had clearance to complete every camp period. By August 19th, the Chiefs still had him in padded 11-on-11 work, where he threw a tight window red zone touchdown, and he was not listed among players missing practice. Kansas City held him out of the preseason opener, but there was no reported setback. Practice clearance sharply improves the availability outlook. It still does not prove that his designed runs or goal line usage will immediately match last season. Now separate the published total from the scoring system. FantasyPros projects 3,839.6 passing yards, 27.5 passing touchdowns, 359 rushing yards, and 3.4 rushing scores. It's displayed 304.3 points effectively deducts 1 point per interception. Under this video's -2 scoring, that same line becomes about 292.7. ESPN's August 19th projection is 291.3. Both systems rank Mahomes QB11, while the market drafts him at QB14, 107th overall. Here is a transparent sensitivity test using this video's scoring, not a medical forecast. Start with the FantasyPros stat line recalculated to 292.7 points. Cut only the projected rushing production by 25%, and the total falls to about 278.6. Keep the original rate, but remove one game, and it becomes 275.5. Combine both assumptions, and the result is about 262.2. Modest mobility or availability losses can erase the draft discount even if the passing projection holds. My rank is QB12, conditional on full practice continuing without a setback. At QB14 cost, that is a small value, not a reason to reach. Draft him around the low-end QB1 tier, then pair him with a stable early season option rather than assuming the old rushing role returns immediately. If camp reports show unrestricted movement and designed run work, the upside moves toward QB8. If his practice volume drops or Kansas City removes goal line runs, push him below QB14. Before locking your draft board, check 4 things. Whether he remains a full practice participant, whether reporters describe normal change of direction, whether Kansas City uses any designed quarterback runs, and whether he keeps goal line rushing work. Those signals matter more for fantasy than generic recovery montages. The risk is not simply whether Mahomes starts. It is whether the part of his game that produced 1/4 of last year's fantasy points is still available. So, will the torn ACL and reported LCL tear affect Patrick Mahomes' fantasy outlook? Yes. It adds early season variance and makes last year's rushing ceiling less bankable. But full camp clearance is meaningful, and QB14 acquisition cost already prices in concern. Treat him as a conditional QB12. Draft the discount. Do not pay for the name, and carry a backup until the movement and rushing role are proven in real games. Would you take Mahomes at QB12 or fade the knee risk completely? Drop your rank below and subscribe to Fantasy Football Blueprint for source-backed fantasy decisions.